We don't have autonomy over our bodies. And so for me, using my platform right now to be like, let me be the boldest I can be, even if people are a little taken aback, I hope it just helps other women.
Call Her Daddy is the biggest female podcast in the world with millions of women listening every single week. But unfortunately, the host Alex Cooper uses his platform to talk about casual sex, partying, and how men are to blame for every bad thing that's ever happened to her.
Yes, standard. So when she says she just wants to be bold, she's kind of just saying she wants to be vulgar. Right? I guess just bold makes you seem more grandiose and that you got like some higher purpose in what you're doing. But really, she's just saying she wants to be vulgar. Probably when talking about taboo topics like sex or abortion, but it sounds like a euphemism for vulgar. And this happens all the time, by the way. Like, I'll have companies email me because they want me to promote their product, and they say you can't use words like cheap. Because cheap comes with a negative stigma that the quality of the product is lower. So they'll say you got to say things like low cost, less expensive. Just another way to say cheap, but in a way that it doesn't hold the negative stigma. That's what it seems like she's doing.
Denying that we have always been underserved and we are treated like second-class citizen to men, right?
And people call that empowering. And the funny thing is that Alex Cooper actually claims that she cares a lot about women's mental health.
Slowly, the show transitioned to talking about mental health and having people on that were willing to open up.
But Alex, don't you realize how dangerous your own podcast is for women's mental health?
I have gone through a man's phone a handful of times in my life.
I don't know if she's just uneducated, ignorant, or that she knows how damaging it is, but just decides to put the stuff out.
She probably does know how damaging it is, but she sold herself to a brand. Didn't she sign like $100 million deal? There ain't no going back from that. You remember what happened to Lizzo when she said she didn't want to be fat anymore? She said she wanted to start working out and eating healthy. And they said somebody shut her up and promote the same ideas because they align with the ideas that they signed up to watch the show for. So since she built that brand off of sexual escapades and feminism, it's very hard to get out of that.
Anyway, but I think it's none of the above. I think she's just a woman who is fooled by feminism without even realizing it. And I'll give you the perfect example of how dangerous that is. A while ago, she uploaded an episode about the time she flew to Paris to meet a guy she'd never met in real life before. When she met, she wasn't attracted to him and they didn't connect.
We quickly learned how incompatible we were.
But she still stayed for a week and she had sex with him anyway.
One awkward thing led to another and we had sex. And it was awful.
Even though she was the one to initiate the sex. Now the big question is, why? Why would she do that if she didn't like him? Well, this is her answer to that question.
I still to this day can't fully articulate why I didn't leave. I didn't want to make the other person feel more uncomfortable. So I tried to like appease the situation and make it better because staying and being miserable somehow felt easier than like pissing someone off and getting in this fight and like leaving and acknowledging.
This is the scariest part about where we are currently with the feminine dynamic. This is a very dangerous spot for guys because we're at the point right now where women can retrospectively withdraw consent.
Hit the thumbs up button. I need y'all to do that while we continue on watching this video. Hit that thumbs up button.
And to me, that is scary. The fact that somebody can go back to a situation that happened 20 years ago, retrospectively withdraw consent because they say they were in an uncomfortable situation. Like, I understand, because I obviously want women to be protected. I want society to be safe for them because I have a wife, mother, sisters, all kinds of things. So I do want society to be safe. And I understand if a man was holding you down and, you know, violently using some type of force against you. But a lot of these situations that they're retrospectively taking away consent is like, yeah, we were at a party 20 years ago. We were both drunk or both on cocaine. And because we were both drunk and both on cocaine, he took advantage of me. I think that's a scary position to be in. Not only that, but the women don't even have to put themselves out there. They can sue you in a civil suit, and they don't even have to identify themselves. You could get sued, and you wouldn't even know who's suing you for something you did 20 years ago.
Whoa, shit,
and I just think that's a little bit criminal to me. I don't think that's right.
How awkward it was, and since he wasn't saying anything, I was not going to say anything, and like
Now, I don't know how much time she took to reflect on this experience, but I think it would be good for her to reflect on it a little longer. And I'm actually not trying to make fun of her, because having such an experience is not funny. I feel sorry for her that she somehow felt like she had to do all of that and somehow put herself in that situation and didn't know how to get out of it. And she's really not the first woman who has experienced something like this.
Yeah, like I feel like we've all been there where we're like, I didn't really want to do that, or I wasn't really into it, but then like I did it because, and it's like, why did you do it? And you're like, I don't know. Like,
I've heard from lots of women that they didn't really want to sleep with a certain guy and then ended up doing it anyway and kind of felt traumatized by it.
Yeah, and that's a big issue because they'll call that coercion now. Mm-hmm. And coercion is supposed...
That's why, man, it is... I would never want to be rich and famous. Rich and famous. Listen to how that sounds. You're rich, famous. That basically... Rich and famous means you're rich and everybody knows you're rich. You're rich and we letting everybody know that you got money. So now you got the wolves after you. If you are unknown and rich, don't nobody know you who the fuck you are. Ain't no wolves on you. Unless you show it. Unless I go out and buy a bunch of shit flashy to let people know I got money. But if I'm not famous and rich and just wore like Target clothes and drove a Camry, you would never know.
Supposedly the R word. It used to be that the R word is if you're held down and somebody takes advantage of you. Now it's like if you're in a room with a guy at 3 a.m., you ain't there to bake cookies. I don't know what you're in a hotel room with a dude at 3 a.m. for, but you'll be in a room with a guy at 3 a.m., and because you felt uncomfortable and you slept with him, somehow he R-worded you. I think that's criminal.
I'm not talking about a situation here where the woman is very attracted to a guy and then sleeps with him, because that's a very different scenario. But seriously, this situation of hers is not something that can't be prevented. To be honest, she put herself in a very dangerous situation. Yeah. And I think it's very dangerous to tell such a story to millions of women and not even give any insightful message at the end of it.
Right.
Because what does her conclusion really tell us here? Nothing. Lots of words come out of her mouth, but she's not saying anything.
Yeah.
If she really wants to help women, she should have said, girls, I made a really big mistake by flying all the way to Paris to meet up with a random guy I met online. Because that's where it all started in the first place. She fell in love with him online and expected him to be this really hot guy who would pay for everything and that they would just fall in love.
Yeah, so she fell in love with the idea of him. Right. She didn't even actually know this guy. And there's a quote that says, if a woman loves you enough, you don't have to lie to her because she'll lie to herself. And this is what she seems like she was doing. She met this guy online, know nothing about him, made up an idea of who he is in her head, went over across seas assuming that he was going to be this guy, and when he wasn't that guy, she was turned off.
In my mind, I was about to get on a plane to meet the potential love of my life. My stomach was filled with butterflies, and time couldn't have gone by slower. All I wanted to do was run into Paris Man's arms and start my fairy tale adventure.
But if you're a woman watching this, life is not a fairy tale. Right. What she did is really high risk, and the chance of it going well is really small. I think she was lucky that the guy wasn't truly malicious, because then things could have ended up a lot worse. Right. If you meet someone online, you should always meet him in a public place first, for all the obvious reasons. Which she also didn't do, by the way. And then, if you end up not liking him for whatever reason during the date, the best thing you can do is just politely tell him that it's not a match for you and go home. Right. She told in her story that she initiated the sex because she hoped that the sex would change their feelings toward each other.
I, like an idiot, thought, maybe if we physically connect, it will bring us closer together. Right. And we will go back to the way that we were before I got here, the way that we were texting and connecting.
She still wanted to make this fairy tale work, despite her own disinterest in the guy, which is just not how it works. Yeah, you know, what this whole podcast episode shows me is that she doesn't know at all how relationships work, and that she's one of the least suitable people on this planet to give any advice on...
She's a damn dingbat. You can look at her and tell she's people who talk like her. You know they ain't too like like
relationships and dating. Yet she has one of the biggest podcasts in the world, and she talks about sex and relationships all the time.
I have a really random thought for you about threesomes.
Oh yeah,
and foursomes.
Oh,
This is so strange.
Groundbreaking, bold, She's a revolutionary. She's talking about threesomes and foursomes.
Which is very worrying, to say the least. A while ago, I made a video about why women keep having casual sex, despite not even really liking it. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch that later. But the thing is that for most women, casual sex is just not that casual. The reality is that sex impacts women differently than men. For women, sex triggers emotional bonds due to higher levels of oxytocin released during intimacy. And this hormone is often referred to as the bonding hormone. It's particularly strong in women, and that makes it very hard for women to just see it as something physical. And I think that pretending that women can have casual sex like men can is one of the most dangerous lies that feminism promotes. But
there are all kinds of ramifications. There are mental issues because of attachment. No matter how much women lie about that situation, there are chemicals that are released by women that are attachment hormones. Not only that, but there are physical ramifications like STDs. Women tend to be more likely to get STDs because STDs tend to like wet, warm areas. Not only that, but pregnancy. So when women are complaining about having the bulk of contraceptives, why don't men have contraceptives like women do? It's because women bear the bulk of the responsibility when it comes to degenerate sex. When it comes to promiscuous sex, women bear the bulk of consequences, so women have the bulk of ways to prevent it. It just makes sense in my opinion. But I think a lot of ladies are dishonest about this, and this woman's getting paid $100 million to talk about dildos 3 times a week, yet she thinks that women are second-class citizens. I think that's just disingenuous.
Alex talks about it on her show all the time. She's got millions of young girls looking up to her, and she's poisoning their minds with this stuff. And especially young girls are so easy to influence, and they will do anything to be part of the culture or part of the group, which honestly just breaks my heart, you know, that this is the culture we're living in right now. Alex Cooper literally got big by talking about how she hooked up with athletes and telling women how to give jobs. And today it's not as bad anymore because she's married now. She actually seems a lot happier, and good for her. I hope she's happy. But you know, it would be nice if she stopped poisoning other women with her toxic feminist message.
Married this dingbat. Who married this fool? Who in the hell married her? Like, what in the hell was he thinking marrying her? Look at her. This woman is insane. You can look at her and tell she is crazy. And somebody married her ass. Look at this woman. Look at this video clip of her. And it'll tell you everything you need to know. And some fool married her. It's a sucker born every minute, man. And these women out here know it. There's a sucker born every minute, and these women out here know it. Anyway, let's continue on the thumbs up button.
Because instead of trying to learn from her mistakes and taking responsibility and accountability for her actions, she just blames other people for it. And that's actually what bothers me the most. Not that she talks about casual sex like it's the most normal thing in the world for women, but the fact that she just tells about her sexual experiences, complains about it afterwards, but doesn't offer any valuable insights.
Yeah, the issue is there's no self-reflection. And I found that all of the best communicators that I know and all the most interesting conversations come from self-reflection. If you don't have any self-reflection of the situation, you're just telling the story. Where's the self-reflection? That's what the podcast should be about. Self-reflecting on all these decisions.
Since she got big by participating in hookup culture and talking about it on her podcast, it's probably hard for her to completely abandon that because then she will likely lose a large part of her audience. But it feels hypocritical to me that she's happily married now, but keeps feeding other women this nonsense. I wish she would come to her senses and would do the right thing, because there really is no happy ending in hookup culture, especially not for women.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is, because it seems like all of the most popular female podcasts are either about sexual escapades or about other women having knives held to their throats in true crime stories.
Right.
I don't know what that is, but that seems to be the bulk of the most popular podcasts that women watch. Like, you'll see Joe Rogan, he'll talk about gorillas, he'll talk about UFOs, he'll talk about ayahuasca, he'll talk about gorillas on ayahuasca, like a various amount, like different topics, but oftentimes in the feminine sphere, and I guess I could be wrong because I don't listen to a lot of female podcasts, but usually when they say bold, they're just being vulgar and they're talking about sexual escapades the whole time, and somehow that's empowering to women. Oftentimes, there's more of a victim narrative, like how she starts a conversation by saying women are second-class citizens. Come on now, how silly is that? I'm pretty sure almost all of the homeless people in America are men. Most of the people who end themselves are men. Most of the people who die at work are men. Most of the people who die in wars are men. Women get free dates, free dinners, free entry into clubs. Women have reproductive rights where they can either end their babies' lives or give them up for adoption. When guys, you don't really have any of that. You kind of just have to just pay child support if they tell you have to. You don't really get those reproductive rights. So yeah, saying that women are second-class citizens in America, I mean, it's to the point where women get pretty much custody of the kids almost all the time, even if they can't prove that they can even take care of the kids. They'll just go, no, we'll just take money from the dad and then give it to the person who can't take care of the kids.
Anyway, so this is the Poor Man's Podcast. She, oh shit, I'm so fucking high, I forgot what I was even fucking watching. What's happening now? Oh, the crazy white chick. Yeah, she crazy looking. Somebody married. But see, women are acting like this because men are letting them act like this. We have no standards no more, and I can say that because I've been on that side of the fence. I've let women get away with shit just because I wanted some pussy around me. They know, bitch, don't talk to me like that. What's wrong with you? I'm a grown man. The fuck is wrong with you talking to me like, don't stupid and shit. Don't talk to me crazy. What the hell's wrong with you? Telling me to shut the fuck up. Bitch, you out your damn mind. We know what? We done. You gotta start cutting them up. Don't hit them. Don't be going upside. If a woman talks to you crazy, cut her ass off. I think men would have a lot more respect for women. We just didn't engage. Don't engage with them. When they have bad behavior, you don't engage with them. You know, you don't. I'm not going to reward you with my attention because you're acting like a child now. You got to talk to some women like that. Don't talk to me like that way. And if you continue to talk to me that way, this is over. I'll leave you and this damn kid. And I think if more men did that, women would tighten up. But we just let them. We let them get away with that cute talking shit, and let them just get away because she cute and he wants some pussy. Sometimes you be like, you know what, fuck your pussy. I don't even want it no more because I don't like the way you act. I don't like the way you act with me. So fuck you and your pussy. A lot of men got to start doing that. You know what I'm saying? Practicing dick discipline. That's what Anton Daniels, another podcaster, calls it. But yeah, we got to demand our respect, man. Don't talk to me fucking crazy. I ain't got to lick your ass. I respect you as a woman. You got to respect me as a man. You know what I'm saying? And I think if more men did that and had self-respect for themselves and don't simp out, then the women will have no other choice but to fall in line. Anyway, what do you think about this video, y'all? Leave your comments, subscribe to Charles and Ezra, hit the thumbs up button. And have some respect for yourself, fellas.